Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us on a brand new week here on the mighty SOR. Hard to believe it's already the final week of September, but that means the man, the myth, and the Buttercup legend, Butch Witkowski, will be back with us here tonight. And before we bring back Sweet Butchie Pie, let us go right into who's here tonight in the roll call. Stakes on a UFO, taking home the gold medal position. Silver for Race Fan, the gorgeous Steph Dickey with a bronze medal. Hello, Jack Clark. How you doing, buddy? The gorgeous Cosmic Floor, good to see you. Ufologist, nice to have you back. Hey, Andrew, how you doing, buddy? Where are you in this beautiful country they call America? Because you're one of them awesome truckers out there. Anyways, moving on. Simon Wales, how are you, buddy? Black Dragon, how you doing? Thank you so much for joining us. The gorgeous Aussie Ange. Mennonite Abe is here, everyone. So let's move on down here as we continue on. Black Dragon, thank you so much for kicking off the super chat tonight. Really appreciate your support of SOR. Grandpa Holland, how you doing, bud? Good to have you here. Michael Smith, they call him Smithy around these parts. He's got a nice super chat as well. Thank you, Michael. Michael, by the way, will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio if you don't mind. There's Nicola and Big Willie and Big Willie's beard. Good to have you guys here. The Ronald Penton, everyone. The Ronald Penton has arrived. Jay Foxhunter, awesome cat chaser. How are you? Good to have you both here. All right, moving on down. Todd Purdon is here, everyone. So is Eddie Haskell. And as we continue on here, down we go, all the way down here. I know Mama Susan's here. There she is. She'll be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind. To the right for Mama Susan. All right. Hey, Wes, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Millennium, nice to have you back. Dirt Road, rooted in gorgeous sacredness. Thank you for taking the time. Stephen Edmond, Go 66, Spooky Morales. Kurt Seltzer with a splash of lime, baby. Hell, let's do it. Let's do it right there, guys. Okay, moving on down here, we have our man Spooky Morales. We have, look at that, Double Tim. Thank you so much for that amazing super chat. Holy cow, buddy. We really appreciate your love and support of this show nightly, man. Thank you so much. We really do appreciate that. Jim Sapp, good to see you, my friend. Thank you for joining us as we continue scrolling on down. Downshift, what is up? Uncle Dale and his Power Stash are here. Remember, you have only until the end of the month to find Uncle Dale in Austin, Texas, and rub his Power Stash for good luck. 3 weeks good luck. One little rub. That's all it takes. Moving on down here, we have Agravane is back. Been a while. How you doing? Richard Elmore. L. Pepper. How are you? Gorgeous. L. Pepper. There's the stunning Michelle C. Richard Elmore. And Vanner Smith. Vin Man. Ozzy, oi, oi to you, buddy. The Evil Double Jim is back. And we continue on here. There's Sweet Donnie D, Jurassic Joey, Ross Lambda. And who else do we got here? Roy the Boy from the UK. Good morning to you. Lee Poping, how are you? Welcome to our show. And that looks like you got a pretty nice beard as well. So Beef, always feel free to flash that beard around here, buddy. All right. He's in Arizona, by the way. That's hot for a beard like that. Nikki, how you doing, gorgeous? R&R, good to have you back. Terry Brown, thanks for coming on in. The lovely Jenny is back. Video game player, how you doing? Long time, no time. As we scroll on down. And Space Cow, how are you, brother? Good to see you, my fellow Canadian. All right. Keep it going. There's Bob, Sensational Sherry, Logan, Beelzebrad, how are you? I followed you back on Instagram, bud. And Harvey, nice to see you. We're going to get going here in 20 seconds, everyone. Hey, Super YJ, how you doing? Remember, the Super Chat is a great way to support what we do on a nightly basis here on Spaced Out Radio. Of course, if you're brand new, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell. All the veterans out there tuning us in, we absolutely love you here. Thank you so much for joining us. Get your horns up, people. It is time, once again, to rock out to Bumblefoot. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show at our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. Yes, the Butch is back after missing last month due to some health concerns because he had to get his teeth scraped or something. I'm not sure. Maybe he had a little bit too much plaque or gout flare-up. I don't know. But the main thing is Butch Witkowski and Strange Days returns tonight on the mighty SOR. Former police officer Butch now spends his retirement hanging out with the legends and monsters of Pennsylvania. Yeah, he even drops his pen every now and again when he's getting ready for a show, but that's okay. We still like him around here. Butch has been doing this for well over 20 years, and the one thing that he knows for sure is he has no answers yet. Butch Witkowski, welcome back to Strange Days on Spaced Out Radio.
Pleasure, my friend. Pleasure.
What's new? What was it last month? Because you played hooky last month.
I'm having some work done on my lower teeth, and being that I'm a bleeder, they have to take some. Whatever would take you one day is going to take me like 5 or 6 times. And when they were doing something, there was a little crack in the jaw, which they had to fix. So it'll continue. Starts tomorrow again.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. You know, I went to the doctor's yesterday, and it takes a lot for me to go to the doctor. But my eye has been sore, like my eye socket. You know, and like the doctor's like, what did you do? And I said, I don't know. I said, you know, it's one thing like if you're playing hockey and you take a punch to the eye, you have a result. You know what I'm saying? You know what caused it. You already know that it's going to probably go black a little bit and maybe bloodshot eyes for a little bit, but that's okay. You live with that. But my eye has been sore. So anyways, I go into the emergency room because I don't know what's going on. My doctor's closed. And in Canada, we could just do that. By the way, my bill was $0. And going on with that, they take my blood pressure. And old Davey is at 150 over 102. That's not good.
No.
That's not good at all.
Not at all. No. 120 over 80, buddy. That's what you strive for.
That's what I'm normally around. And all of a sudden I'm at 150 over 102. So the nurse says to me as she's taking my blood pressure, she's like, so why is your blood pressure so high? I said, I don't know. I work 16 hours a day. I'm fat. You know, I have a terrible diet. I have no motivation to do anything right now. And it just seems like I don't get enough sleep. She goes, let's see, no sleep, fat. Apparently, I'm not healthy right now. So today I had to make some changes. Because I don't want to go through what you went through, Butch, a couple years ago. You know, because that would really suck. It would really, really suck. Then you're going to bed at like 7:30 every night, and you end up watching Matlock all the time and Golden Girls, and I just don't want to do that. So I started making some changes today. I've eliminated my iced tea. I've eliminated lemonade, that I would get, and for the next long while, I am drinking water. Flush my system out. Oh, it's so good and tasty. Water. And I changed my diet. Going to be on a chicken diet here for a while. And my lunch, I had blueberry yogurt and an apple. I mean, this is stuff I need to do because it actually scared me a little bit, man. It literally scared me a little bit. So I had to make some changes.
Well, I knew it was coming. I mean, there were some telltale signs a couple of years ago, but just a blockhead, just like, it'll go away. It did. It sure did.
Well, I was actually thinking about you in the hospital, thinking, my God, this is what happened to Butch. And I was like, I can't have that happen to me. I'm way too young and pretty yet.
The only thing that bothers me or that puts me down a little bit is heat. If I'm out in the sun, whether mowing the lawn or just nutsing around out in the shed or something, I can't stay out long. 15, 20 minutes max, and I got to get out of that sun.
Yeah, but I'm like that anyways. I mean,
now the cold, I had no problem with the cold last year or the year before. I mean, that doesn't seem to bother me, but the heat, can't handle it.
No, we're up here right now. We're in perfect temperature right now. We are in perfect temperature right now.
We are too. We're in the mid 70s, low 70s, and it's been nice. It's supposed to rain tonight and tomorrow, but other than that, I got the grass cut tonight, so I'm happy.
Well, we're getting into single digits here in the Celsius range overnight now. And it is so great. You open up that window, you get that fresh, cool breeze, like cold breeze coming in that just keeps the pillows cold all night long. I like that.
Yeah, we at night we're down around in the 50s mark, 50, 55. Haven't gone, a couple of times last week we were in the 40s, but it's basically in the 50s, 60s overnight, and then daytime 70, 75, 78. And I can live with that.
Well, let's move on here, man. How's the monsters going? How's the monster hunting?
Well, UFOs have really come up in reports in the last 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks. A lot of sighting, zigzagging craft, one triangle, multi-witness, which is good, always good. And that they just came out of the blue because, like I said before, a month before last, we haven't been getting much in the UFO line, and now we did. Now another thing popped up last week, and another one this week: apparitions.
Really?
Yeah, and that to me that's really bizarre because I really am not a paranormal guy. Everything I've learned paranormal, I've learned from Lon Strickler. So he bit me with that stuff. It just comes to me. But a guy called, actually sent me an email, wanted my phone number. I gave him my phone number, and he called me right away. And he lives up in northern Pennsylvania, way north. Not a big property, a couple acres, but sitting on his back porch like he pretty much does every day, rain, snow, or shine. It doesn't matter to him. And he said there was a little mist above the ground, which he said is pretty much normal up there. And he said they just saw this soldier, what he described as, he could see the green uniform, he could see the belt, he could see the weapon, which was an M16, the old style hat, helmet. He said definitely World War II or probably Vietnam era due to the type of rifle he was carrying. And he said he couldn't make out a face, and he said it just walked out of the mist, and he said it went maybe 5-6 yards and then just disappeared. And I said, wow. And he said, yeah, but that ain't all. I went, oh, okay. He said, he walked down and looked around. He didn't see anything, no footprints or anything, and nothing in the grass, and that was all moist and everything. And next thing he said, he went back, sat down, got his pipe out, and was loading his pipe. He looked up. There's like 5 more people walking up through out of the mist. He said, now, they weren't in uniform. He said, I could make out faces, but I couldn't make out the clothing. He said, it just kind of looked like people in street clothes. But he said they were walking in a straight line. I said, are you near a cemetery or anything? He went like, no cemeteries around here. He said, but they were so lifelike. He said, I could make out arms, fingers, belt buckles, the same thing with the military guy. And apparitions to me have always been kind of strange because in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, down the battlefield, apparitions are seen all the time. I mean, they're seen standing by cannons, on horseback, columns marching through the woods, and they've been videoed very well. I mean, you know, it is what it is. But this guy's up in the middle of nowhere, and I started searching around to see if I could come up with anything, and I came up with nothing in that area at all. No, nothing of any type, paranormal, UFOs, Bigfoot, creature, and nothing. It just wild. And then a few days after that, now this would have been Western Pennsylvania up near Erie, a guy was getting his boat out of the water for the season. And he said it got on to dark, and he saw somebody walking up through the row of boats where I guess they park them for the winter time, take them out. And he started yelling to him. He thought it was the yard manager, and there was no answer. So then he kind of walked between a couple boats. So he walked over thinking it was the yard manager, and he went back there, and he said he could see this person walking away, and he was calling his name, and it turned around and just gone. Looked right at him and gone. Now that's strange. To get two apparitions in a short period of time like that, that's kind of bizarre to me. But the guy said he could tell what they were wearing. He said they were clear as a bell. And he said it's not like they came out of the mist, because he said the mist was only a couple inches above the ground. He said it was mostly dew. And there it was. And he wants an explanation. I don't have an explanation for that. No more than I have an explanation for the stuff down in Gettysburg. I mean, you know, people are driving around, and it gets dark, and they got their camera, and there's a guy that walks out behind a cannon or stands aside of a cannon. What is it? I don't know. I have no idea. But when I started looking up apparitions, those sightings are all over the place. I mean, up in the Northeast, up in Massachusetts, Connecticut, upstate New York, Florida, Texas, California. It's crazy. And I got a hold of a researcher up in Maine who, I guess that's his forte, apparitions, and works by himself. And he said, look, he said, I live near the water. And he said, we've had a lot of shipwrecks over the years. And he says, more than once, I've seen, people come out of the water and then just gone. And I said, do you have any idea what they are? He said, I have no idea. No idea. But that's the apparition. And I've heard stories and read reports where, people have a dog die and or pass on, and the day that the dog crossed the bridge, they're sitting home whining and carrying on, and they'll look up and the dog walks through the room. I mean, I don't know if that's a mental thing or, people say there's no underworld, there's no such thing as ghosts. I'm not saying there's such a thing as ghosts, but there could be unsettled souls, people that didn't want to leave or don't even know they left. That's a whole new thing there.
The day my dog Zero died, I went to bed after the show, and literally I saw her shadow lying on her bed, because she was a little Chihuahua dachshund. So I literally said, Zero, not even cluing in, Zero, move over. Felt her move over as I crawled into bed, and then realized that as she disappeared, like the weight just disappeared. But the funny part about it was, just a couple minutes after that, we've had a couple of cats pass away since we moved here. They were elderly cats. And I feel one of the cats jump up onto the bed and walk across my legs. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me right now. You got to be kidding.
Yeah, and there's no answer for that. I mean, you talk to people that say they're experts in that field, but they don't have an answer either. I mean, no more than anybody has an answer for UFOs or anything else that's marching around. But it's when I really started looking back, I mean, those cases are a lot more common than I ever would have thought they were. I mean, Gettysburg, yeah. I mean, those reports have been going on from probably the day after the battle. But this guy, he said, look, he said, I'm telling you, he said, if I could have seen his face, he was plain and, just as close to me. He said, I could have talked to him, but there was no face. He had hands, legs, everything else, uniform, and which he said was definitely Vietnam era because it was all green. And so there was color. There was color to this apparition. And that's another thing that I've only seen one report on that in that was in Gettysburg, where one of the homes down there was converted to a hospital where they were operating on the wounded. And the guy on video, he just set up his video camera, was watching it, for a few hours overnight. And what he presumed was a doctor came out, and he could see a blouse with the sleeves rolled up, and it was a dark color. So he was assuming it was a Union officer or a Union doctor, but he could definitely see the apron, the white apron, which was all covered in red blood. And I went like, whoa. So I saw that video, and that's a little spooky.
I bet.
And, people passing away, and then, somebody takes a picture of the family reunion or something like that, and there's Granny who passed away 30 years ago. She's in the picture. So I just think it's, for lack of anything better in my mind, I just think it's unsettled souls, or they don't know that they're not there anymore.
Do you think that a lot of this paranormal activity that we're starting to see has anything to do with, Halloween being just over a month away?
No, no, because it goes year round. There's reports like that all the time, of things that we're seeing that shouldn't be there, or just the oddball stuff. I'm not talking about the TV stuff that pops up all the time with noises and knocks on doors and stuff like that. These are apparitions. These are the people see what they see and they describe it. And it's just like the guy said, if he would have had a face, he said, I could have talked to him, but there was no face. Everything else was there, but no face. And then the 5 that come up the road, or, up the road toward his house in line, same thing. He said, but I could see the faces, but they didn't get that close where they just kind of went away. They were there and then they weren't. So now he sits out there with a camera every night.
What do you think causes that residual energy?
I don't know. Some people say it's the mind longs for the lost one, whether it's an animal or a human, or things that happened in their past, a bad accident, or war. There's just so many things that you could attribute to what people see or what they want to see. And that was an interesting little thing I found, where a psychiatrist was saying, if people sit and they were really close to somebody, like a parent or grandparents or a friend who left, and they'll just think on it. Pretty soon, they're carrying on a conversation. The person is in the room with them. Not that it's there, but their mind makes it so. And that's kind of interesting, because look, we know so little about our own minds. It's crazy. I mean, people see stuff. There's been pictures taken of accident scenes where there's a fatality, and you have the shape of a spirit of the person that was killed rising from either the gurney that the body's on or from the car. What's that? How did that happen? And the people that go out and try to find that stuff, try to, hang around cemeteries and see what they can conjure up. Basically, they don't see anything. It's always somebody that's usually by themselves, like you with your dog and the cat. Now, we always have two dachshunds. We lost one last December, and the one we have now is 19 years old. And he's on borrowed time. He's blind, he's deaf, but he gets around, he eats, he does what he's supposed to do, raises hell, barks, carries on, just like a dachshund would. But when we buried one of or had one of our dachshunds die on us, like the day he died, and the next day, I was so used to calling the guys for their breakfast, I called, I said Moose and Harley, and Harley was gone, but I heard two sets of feet run through the kitchen. Don't know. It gets beyond. I mean, you can come up with so many different scenarios, but I just think the mind makes it happen. It's just like people see stuff, they don't see stuff, or what they see, wasn't it? Look how many people report Bigfoot. It's a tree. It's moss hanging off a tree. It's a deer. But in their mind, it's Bigfoot, and they'll swear and declare it's Bigfoot. But when you talk to somebody that has seen something like that, a Bigfoot, you can tell they're telling the truth because they're scared to death while they're telling you. They're not, making light of it. Like, oh, well, I think he was like 7 foot tall, maybe, or like, they're pretty much right on with their descriptions. And when you ask them, well, what was the first thing that came to your mind? Well, the first thing that came to everybody's mind when they saw one was run. Wasn't like anybody was going to go up and say like, well, I'm going to go up and shake hands with it. No, everybody says the same thing: run.
It's easy though to talk about cryptids that way. It's very easy to get confused in the forest when you don't know, as we got about a minute to go here. But with spirits, especially those that we recognize, could it be that they're just comfortable with where they are, and that's the reason why they're hanging out?
Yeah, could be. Very seldom. I don't think not even seldom. I don't think I've ever read a report on an apparition that attacked anybody. I mean, it's usually somebody that was near and dear to somebody's heart, and it was always a friendly thing, or something that was like expected. Like in the one report, a guy's brother passed away, and they were twins, and they were both up in age, and the one passed away, and he said the day of the funeral, he sat down at the table to have supper, and he set a place setting for his deceased brother, and he spent 2 hours talking to him. And he said he was there. He said he didn't need anything, but he was there.
And on that note, we're going to take our first break here at the bottom of the hour. Butch Witkowski's Strange Days, Spirits, Ghosts, Paranormal, Supernatural, and a fine glass of water. Butch Witkowski returns right after this on Spaced Out Radio. All right, there we go. We is clear. Hey, Dutch, you're Dutch, by the way. Little Tommy Whitmore, right there. Little Tommy Whitmore, everybody. Sinister Vax, how are you? Who else is here? Oh, there we go. Aussie Steve, what's going on? Water. Yay. What are you drinking there, Butch? What's your poison?
Diet tea. Yeah. Should just be water. There's no difference.
Mm-hmm.
How much time we got there, Chief?
We got about 4.5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Go tinkle if you have to.
That's exactly what I'm going to do. Tea runs through me like hot knife through butter.
Yep. I'm already through half a glass of water, and we're only 30 minutes in. Now, how lovely is that? Going to be pissing all night tonight. All right. Jim Nicholas, good to see you. My Zoe Buttercup has the cutest smile. And I don't mind drinking water. I don't mind yogurt, blueberry yogurt either. I have a soft spot for blueberry and strawberry yogurt. Look at this crap by Robert Two Crows. Apparitions eat breakfast for dinner. I hope you stub your toe, Robert. S-Truth Gaming, what's going on? Yeah, Dave ain't eating tuna. I'll eat some celery sticks and carrots, though. I can't think of a name. What's going on? Welcome back. That's it, Tom? That's all we get? Is we get you for like 3 minutes, if that? Heartbroken here, Tom. Heartbroken. Gorgeous Marie, what's happening? I'm allergic to aspartame, so I don't drink anything diet. I know it's 11:30 there, Tom. I just want to bug you, buddy. Miss you, man. I'll call you soon. $4.16, what's happening? FAP, it's working. That's all I'm going to say. It's working. Both work, Tom. The gorgeous Marie makes me want to sing. Let's go here. No. I'll just cut sugar off. That's easy enough. Are you on the square? Are you on the level? Are you ready to stand right here, right now, before your Davo? That you're on the square, that you're on the level, that you're ready to stand right here, right now, right here, right now. There you go, Square Hammer. That's for you, buddy. The gorgeous and stunning Alicia Carey Wyatt, all the way from Texas. Look at it. You know what? We can change Butch into, remember Warrant's cherry pie? He's my Butchie pie. Cool drink of water. I don't know. Got it right there. Done, man.
You sure that's water in that glass?
That is water.
Okay.
That is water. All right, we got 27 seconds. Big thank you to Fabster, Blue Book, Dirt Road ×2, Mennonite Abe, Tim, Smithy, and Black Dragon for the amazing super chats. Yeah, thank you to all the veterans tuning on in our chat room, hanging on out. You always got a safe home here with us. And, of course, all of our regulars, including Square Hammer, hanging on out, being one with us. Here we go, guys. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. Want to remind you that if you're missing portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show. Big shout out to Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal, our great music master, does all of our themes, including Little Brother is Watching for me and Women Rule the World for Lynn Wallington on the weekends. And I'll tell you, he had a birthday yesterday, so big happy birthday to Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Not going to ask his age because, rock stars have no age. They're just legends right through. Butch Witkowski's Strange Days continues tonight with Butch Witkowski from UFOcop.com. And Butch, right before the break, we were talking apparitions. I want to continue down the paranormal road, but first, I would like to ask you about any new Dogman sightings or bipedal canine.
Only one, and that I think is kind of a repeat because the area is it's within our research area, but just the way it was presented, it seems to me that the guy copied off of one of our earlier reports of 2 years ago. That was the only one.
Now,
but they'll start coming out because it seems like around October, late September, October, November, when people are out walking around, in the woods viewing the colors of the leaves and stuff like that, is when we get them.
Okay, so how did you know this guy was copying your previous reports?
Because some of the statements he made were my statements.
Oh, that'll do it every time.
Every time. I don't get ugly about anything like that. I just say, okay, well, I got it all taken down. If I find anything, I'll get back to you, and that'll be that. So he hasn't called back, so I'm assuming that he probably figured out that I figured him out. It doesn't happen very often, but it has happened a couple times over the years where somebody copies a report.
Are they doing it for attention?
Yes.
Or are they doing it because maybe they had a bad experience?
No, it's fame, fortune and glory, fame and glory. That's they want to be recognized. It's like I got involved with another group investigating a abduction in the Harrisburg, Pennsylvania area. And, when we walked into the house, I knew exactly what I was getting into. Lady lived alone. She was up in age. Every book on the shelf had to do with abduction. Every book. She was quoting stuff that apparently happened to her that I could have walked over and picked up the book and said, yeah, well, that's right here on page 396, and it was just attention. People get lonely, people want attention. And then there's people that, they have a legitimate something that they just don't know how to deal with, and they want somebody to tell it to and try to get an answer. And some of the stuff is really legit. They've done something or seen something, and you just got to tell them what you can. You don't want to lead them astray. I've never had to call anybody a liar ever. I mean, even though I knew they were lying, you just kind of bow your way out of it. But these apparitions, I think that's legit because there's just too many of them. And just like yours, your instance where, with the dog and the cat. And there've been so many things like that. Like, when I called the boys for their breakfast and, I heard two sets of clicky clacks through the kitchen and only one was there. So I don't know. That stuff is really beyond me. And I really haven't talked to or met anybody that had any answers with it. So I just think a lot has to do with how you felt about the individual or how close you were to the individual. Were they really close to you, whether it was an animal or a human? I don't know. And then there's some people that just can't come to terms with, a family member dying or or an animal, and they'll carry that for the rest of their life. And if they want to see that animal or that person, they'll see it. There's no doubt about it.
I always find it a little creepy, Butch, when people keep their animals' ashes.
Why is that?
I don't know. Just creeps me out. I mean, I have nothing against it. If it makes people feel better, great. Just creeps me out.
Well, what's the difference between that and keeping ashes of a parent?
Creeps me out. Not going to lie.
Well, then I guess I shouldn't tell you that we're about 3 foot away from here, all 9 of our pets.
No wonder you're haunted. Although I could say this, Butch, we're all going to have a day when our time comes. And if you decide to get cremated, I'd take a little Butch spice, put it in the office here. As long as it included your goatee, that's all that matters to me.
I'll put that in the will. Make sure you get something.
Appreciate that. But moving on here, in regards to the bipedal canine, there was a question in the chat room about whether or not you think this creature may hibernate during winter.
That's very possible, because when it really gets cold and snowy and stuff, we don't really get anything. And then kind of when the weather breaks, we'll get reports. And before the cold weather sets in, we get reports. But that's the same thing we found with Bigfoot reports in Pennsylvania, where, they're seen in the summertime, they're seen in the spring, they're seen in the fall. And in the wintertime, there's just no reports. So I don't know.
I would think they're more migratory.
There's been a lot of theories on that, that they move on, but the one that we've been looking after, we've only ever seen, there's only ever been one reported. We've never had a pair reported or a group. And they just don't stray out of that research area we have. I mean, it's all the largest forest that we have, and we're talking about like 26,000 acres. One's 47,000 acres, and it's very thick, very heavy. Not a lot of people even get into that area. Excuse me. But it's I don't know. And wherever we have the reports, one of the things that has always stuck with us, and that's going to be picking up shortly, is where these reports came in. There's always water nearby, whether it's a creek or a lake or whatever. But the other thing that's always nearby are caves. And Pennsylvania's got 500 or 600. Some are private; you can't get into them. Others are, open to the public, but they give you all kind of warnings. And there's actually a spelunker group here in Pennsylvania actually put everything in a file, all the different caves, their locations, if they're private or if they're open, and then some that are flooded, and they'll tell you, how far back they go or if they were explored or not. And a long time ago, one guy said, they're not going to be out in the ground walking around. He said, they're going to be in a cave somewhere. And yeah, that's possible. It just seems that wherever we had the sighting, within 1.5 miles, 2 miles, there's a cave. Or they're seen and they're gone. And then people say, well, they're interdimensional. Well, you could say that, I guess, but we've had reports of them, along the roadside eating deer kill. So if it's interdimensional, why would it need to eat?
Changing topics here. There was a recent video out of Loch Ness recently where people with a drone claim that they found the Loch Ness monster really close to shore while during a bunch of people canoeing who were sitting on shore, just kind of hanging out. Did you
Yeah.
get a chance to see that?
Yes, it did. Yeah.
Now, already it's being called a CGI hoax. Wondering what your thoughts are.
Well, I think that's pretty what it's been nailed down to, a CGI hoax. It's those ones that are from a few years back or a number of years back, where you can see something moving in the water. This was, I don't know. At first shot, I thought it was a sturgeon. That's just me. But there, the people that are looking for these underwater creatures, I guess you want to call them, that takes a lot of expense. I mean, we've got a lot of expense tied up in equipment, but the stuff they're using, like, scanning underwater scan radar and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you're talking big bucks. I mean, there's one group. Well, actually, they're over in Russia at one lake in Russia. They've been going. I mean, they're using a $250,000 piece of equipment to scan this lake floor. Now, they found all kind of stuff like sunken vessels, junk people threw in over the years, a couple cannons from some war, that kind of stuff. But I mean, I don't know. And there's so many lake monsters now. I mean, Nessie was the only one. Now we got all kind. We even got one here in Pennsylvania, which everybody said is a log floating around. And when you look at it, it's a log. You can see the log, you can see the branches, and it's in a man-made lake where they drowned a whole town and a whole forest. But there's a lot of unknowns out there.
Right.
Look, there's some people that do really good at gifting for Bigfoot. Then there's other people who have been doing it for years and never had anything happen. Nothing. But they keep at it. Stories of the wounded Bigfoots being taken out of forest fires by the military. And I mean, you got these people that swear and declare it happened, and I'm like, did it happen? Yeah, probably. Can they prove it? Not likely. I don't know. It's there's so many things going on right now. I mean, like I said, the UFO sightings, like we didn't have any for a few weeks, over a month. And then it was like boom, 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 one after the other. Every other day there was one. And with the exception of 1 out of 4, they were all multi-witness. And they weren't even close to each other. They don't know each other. They're in one thing, they're miles apart. It's and they are what they are. We don't know what they are. Everybody said, "Well, the government came clean." The government told you what they wanted to. They're not going to tell you everything. If people sit around and think that the government's going to tell them they have something locked up out in Roswell or someplace else, in Ohio, that's not going to happen. Don't hold your breath. I mean,
you're not a big fan of the sea monsters now, are you?
Well, don't get me wrong. There were, giant squid back in, the 1600s. That to everybody that was ever involved in either an attack or seeing one, that was a sea monster. And then they said, well, they never existed. Well, somebody's down exploring on the ocean floor a couple of miles down, and what do they see go across the front of the screen? A giant squid. There are researchers from the Oceanographic Institute that say that megalodon still exists.
Oh yeah.
And then there's people that say, well, it's probably a big nurse shark or something like that, or this, that, and the guy's going like, no. We're talking about something that's like 60 feet long, I'm like, 60 foot of shark? Give me a break, buddy. I'd walk on the water. They'd have to chase me. But Yeah, there are so many unknowns, and a lot of people just don't realize that. They think, well, this is the way it is. This is what they said. No, a lot of times that people are saying what it is, they have no idea what it is. They're just. It's not that they're blowing smoke, and I'm sure there's a portion of them that are for the fortune and glory, want their own TV show, but there's just stuff out there, Dave, we can't explain. We have no idea. I mean, how many times now have we had bipedals walk out on people, more than one person, group of persons, and when everybody's giving you the exact same description, they're saying the same thing. Now, if they would have said, "Oh, it was 5'2" and it had blonde hair and wore glasses and blah blah blah," I mean, like, wow. But every report that we have, every report that no differentiating from anything, every report of description of this creature is identical, right down to his toenails. I mean, everything is the same. There's nothing different. So, are we dealing with something we don't know? Sure. A lot of people say, well, it's probably a Wendigo. Well, Wendigos aren't exactly that description. They're totally different. Then they'll say, well, it could be a Dogman. Well, the Dogman thing, nobody's ever proved that. And the Dogman is like different colors and has a long tail, bushy ears, the snout like a German Shepherd, walks on all fours, never sits up, That's not our guy. Our guy isn't like that. I mean, that description doesn't even come close to what this thing is. And we've had it given to us by hunters, general public, park rangers, game commission, property owners. And when you look at our Lichen Loop, which is our research area, you're looking at an area 80 miles by 150 miles. And the guy down here at the bottom doesn't know the guy up at the top. And he's describing the exact same thing this guy is. Now, there may be time between. And it's funny how when you look at the map, and I have one up in the library. When you look at the big map and you see that, where this one was and this one was, and people say, well, how are they getting there? Well, this state game land is attached to this federal land, which is attached to this state game land. So it's just like a walk from one to the other. They don't have to, if they cross a highway, it's not even a highway, it's a road. We've had that here in Berks County. Gentleman he works up the street here from where I live, and he was taking a bank deposit to drop off for his boss on his way home. And I'm familiar with the road because I lived in that particular area of town when I grew up. And he said he went around this bend, and he said this thing just ran out of the woods, ran across the road, and jumped over the guardrails and into the woods. And I said, describe it. And he described it. And I went, wow. Now, from where I'm sitting to where that happened, as the crow flies, probably 6 miles. But it's still within our Lichen Loop. And we have a huge, right from where I'm sitting, we have a huge, it's called French Creek State Park. A huge park, a huge state park. I mean, it's just huge. It borders 3 counties. And from there to where he saw that take place, that run out across the road on him, it was maybe 5 mile, 4 mile. And it's all woods. You just walk out of the woods, run across the road, and walk right back into the woods. So they're out there. We don't know what they are. I've tried to think of everything it could be, but I don't have an answer. But the thing that keeps me tagged to it, and will always keep me tagged to it, is the fact that everybody reported the same thing. And I found the same description back in the 1700s in Erie, Pennsylvania. And I've talked about this before on the show, where a guy shot at one that was messing around with his goats or sheep. I forget what it was. And he goes back in the town to the town constable and gives him the description of what he saw. And if I took that description and held that up here and held up one that I got a couple months ago, they're identical. Size, shape, 2 legs, massive chest, long arms, hands, hawk legs like a dog from the knees down, large wolf head. Same thing, glowing yellow eyes, the whole 9 yards, everything. Where with the Dogmen, you have glowing yellow eyes, glowing red eyes, blue eyes, green eyes, whatever eye de jour is. But these guys, it's always glowing yellow eyes, day or night. So, is there something out there? If I had to stake your reputation on it, I'd say yes. There's something out there.
All right, I got it for you, Butch. Because a lot of times when people see these creatures, you and I could be standing right side by side with each other and have 2 completely different sightings of the same creature. How do you think that happens? As we got about 90 seconds to go.
Well, I've had multiple sightings of the creature where there were 3 couples, and they were all questioned separately, not together, and they all described the same thing, right down to the legs. I mean, it was right on the money. Where I see a lot of what you're describing happen is something that's in the woods, that's moving through the woods. One guy said, "Oh, that was a bear," and the next guy said, "Oh no, that was Bigfoot. I could tell." That happens, but I don't think it happens as much as you would think it would. Especially with multi witness sightings. The same thing with UFOs. Multi witness sightings are the best. Single sighting here and 30 miles away, another sighting. Same thing, identical description, color, whatever. It was there. It's when I always call them Me Too-isms, where somebody's describing something and you have somebody in the crowd going like, "Yeah, me too. I saw that." Yeah, sure you did. But I'll tell you another thing with when they see these things, they're very, very touchy about. They don't want to talk to the newspapers. They don't want to talk to anybody on radio or anything like that. They just want somebody to come out and talk to them and be done with it. And I've only ever had one person call back, and that was a park ranger, and said, "Did I get any more reports in that area?" I said, "No, I did not."
All right, Butch, we'll get you to hold on right there because we are going to break here at the top of the hour. Butch Witkowski's Strange Days continues on Spaced Out Radio as we talk everything ghosts, paranormal, UFOs, Dogman, bipedal canines, Bigfoot. We'll even find out what kind of scented deodorant Butch wears on a daily basis. UFOcop.com is his website. We'll be right back with Strange Days of Butch Witkowski here on the Mighty SOR next. I'm not going to lie, Butch. My dog farted something bad in here. It's terrible.
Just for your knowledge, I do wear Lily of the Alley.
Very nice.
Yes.
Very nice. And, all right, Cousin Gary. Cousin Gary with his question up next. Gary's 62 years old or 60 years old, and his mustache is 58. He's had that sucker since he was 2 years old, that lip blade. It's impressive. Scott Taylor, Lazarus Project. How you guys doing? Super Duke, Cappy, what's happening? Peppa H, good to see you. Jurassic Joey. Oh. Water, love it. UFO Jeremy Meek, what's happening? Gorgeous Larry, what's happening? If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, ring that bell. Hey, Butch, I'm going to get you to turn your speakers down a little bit. I'm getting a lot of feedback on my end, man, that last half hour, if you don't mind.
How's that?
So far, so good.
Okay.
Let's see here. We've got about 2 minutes here, Butch.
Okay.
Maybe 3. I haven't decided yet. Excuse me. Oh, who's messaged me on Signal? Charnotton, what's happening, Charnotton? The lovely and talented Charnotton. Good morning, Tony D. What's happening to you? How you doing? Big Bad Jason with a nice, healthy little super chat right there. Just like, hey, Dave, appreciate you. There you go. And I'm like saying thank you, Jason, for that awesome super chat. Really do appreciate you supporting SOR like that. Rich Hilke's here, everyone. The Rich Hilke. So much more powerful when you can say the. For, like, we got Butch Witkowski here, everyone. The Butch Witkowski. See what I mean? Just it gives that power. We got 1 minute, 10 seconds. All right, a big thank you to Jason, Fapster, Blue Book, Dirt Road ×2, Mennonite Abe, Tim, Smithy, and Black Dragon for the amazing super chats. It's a great way to take care of what we do here on Spaced Out Radio on a nightly basis. Thank you to all our veterans who are tuning on in, taking us in tonight. And, of course, thank you to all of our regulars who are hanging on out as well. You guys make it so much fun. RB, how you doing? And I like this comment right there, Butch. I'll let you take that as we come back from commercial.
Listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Thank you to everyone tuning us in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Defervescence. Defervescence is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show. Now, Butch, comment coming in from the chat room here, basically saying that, you always have this look on your face that you've just smelled something really, really odorous.
I had a shower.
But nonetheless, RB in our chat room says, I like grouchy old dudes, So, I mean, there you go. There it is right there. I mean, Butch Witkowski's Strange Days happens at near the end of each month, where we bring on Big Bad Butch to talk about everything that's going on in the supernatural and paranormal fields. And, we're going to get to some audience questions as we come up to this part of the show. But Butch, for you as someone who is, looking for a lot of these really cool creatures out there, what's the drive? What keeps you going?
Just the hunt for the truth. I've been at this so long now, and I've heard so much nonsense over the years. I mean, whether it was within different groups or it was on the boob tube or in a book or something, it just, it's just that it's that hunt, it's like, does something like this really exist? Well, UFOs, that pretty much took care of itself after the first couple sightings, but the rest of this stuff, it's crazy. It's just a hunt for the truth. I've met a lot of interesting people, met a few loonies, but it's gotten to the point where it's fun, where I get to deal with people that ask real questions. Like the SOR people here. I mean, the Spaced Out Radio group. I mean, nobody's ever asked a dumb question. They've always asked good questions. But I've been on shows already where it was like the comedy hour, and they're looking for an answer, and I'm going like, I really want to get out of here. Maybe I can cut the phone wire, or turn the computer off or something. But it's just a hunt for the truth. I just want to know the truth. I mean, nobody has to convince me about UFOs. I mean, I've seen enough of those already. But the different things, just, like the apparitions, to learn more about the apparitions and why that happens, or, the bipedal canine or Bigfoot. I mean, it's like, I just got to know. It's like a bug in the brain, you just want to know. And I thought to myself a couple times, well, what if it turns out to be, nothing but bull crap? Well, then that's the way it works out. But I just don't think that anymore. There's something out there, and it's just not UFOs or Bigfoot or bipedals. There's something out there. you know, you can't say that everybody that gives you a report's a liar. I mean, especially when you get report A at this end of the state and B at this end of the state, and they've seen the same thing. Now, people see what they see. Some people see what they want to see. But I don't know. I just think it's always caught me like that from day one. I just have to know. And like I said, I met a lot of great researchers in the field. And, you know, some of these guys, I thought I put time in. These guys are out every weekend. Rain, snow, sleet, it don't matter. They're out. And, you know, they're in areas kind of like where you're at. Lots of trees, you know, lots of creatures walking around the woods you don't want to mess with. We have our few here, but it's like, I don't know. It's, and these things have been around for a long time, whether it's Bigfoot or bipedal canines or UFOs, or, I mean, they've just been around so long. And, you know, one thing I do fault researchers on, some researchers, not all, some. They don't do, you know, they'll get a report and then they'll take it from there and move forward. Well, the proper way of doing it is take the report and move backwards. Research the area, research the property, you know. That's how I found that case of the bipedal in Erie. Just going backwards. And another thing I fault them on is, and not all, some, when they go out and they're looking over a scene, what they should be looking for is something that does not belong there. Not what they expect to find, but it shouldn't be there. Like if it's a gifting site and the guy puts his little gift on a tree stump or something like that, and it's not there anymore. Well, then he just gives up, turns around, and walks away. But if he would have walked 10 more feet in any direction, he would have saw that it was on another stump, or, you know, it was hanging from a tree. You know, it's just taking that extra step of things that shouldn't be there are the things you should be looking for. Whether it's a footprint, hair, a scat, whatever. Going to a site and just figuring out that you're going to get a shot with a camera of Bigfoot or a bipedal canine, that's pretty much not going to happen. But if you'd spend some time at the site, if you walked around, you know, maybe there's a partial footprint, or like up in northern Washington where the guys were following one footprint and they kind of gave up after a day of following it to nowhere. And actually whatever the creature was, presumably a Bigfoot and a smaller Bigfoot, had turned right, stepped over a log, which pretty much ended the track they were following. And there was the Bigfoot print on one side and the smaller print on the other side. And they followed that till it actually went down to water, and then they lost it. But now that's the way to do it. You know, you want to take it to the nth. Don't get there and, you know, oh man, he's not here anymore. Well, I didn't think he was going to be there, but maybe he left something, or maybe it left something. We've collected bones. I have them in the library right now under the microscope, a couple. I want to study a little bit more of the bite mark of a regular wolf, just a plain old gray wolf out of Canada or any place else. And then I want to match that to other bones where I've seen that type of mark. So if it was a larger bipedal canine, the bite pattern is going to be much different, much larger, and then we'll take it from there.
Cousin Gary is asking, are you familiar with the moon-eyed people of Appalachia who live underground, only come out at night as they're blinded by the sunlight?
That has been around for a long, long time. That goes back to I think the first reports came up right at the end of the Civil War in the early 1870s, I believe. And there's a lot of reports on that in Appalachia. I mean, that's, certain areas have their certain monsters or their certain oddities, and Appalachia has a lot of them. But yeah, the Moonite people, oh yeah, they've been around a long time. Matter of fact, there are even statements of in Indian lore of the Moonite people in Appalachia, where Indians would, I'm going to say they were at war with them, but I mean, if they didn't, like, they went out and hunted them, but it seemed like wherever they went, the Moonite people would be put up a little scuffle. But when they chased them down and tried to get them, they always disappeared underground, and the Indians wouldn't go underground. So yeah, that's an old story, but who knows? They say you got reptiles living under Los Angeles, which I could believe. Probably Democrats.
Now, when you sit there and talk about moon-eyed people, what are people seeing here?
Short in stature, in the 5-foot range, stocky built, look like they're overfed. Very round eyes, large round eyes. Color varies depending on what part of Appalachia you're from. And like Gary just said here, they only allegedly come out at night, because if they come out during the day, they can't take the sunlight, so they got to go back underground. But there is a really good book on that. The only problem is, I think the only place you're going to get it is down in West Virginia, along the Appalachian area there in the mountains. But there's a book out on them and some drawings. But a lot of people don't talk about it because it's not something like, there's not moon people in Philadelphia or LA or Canada. They're just in Appalachia.
All right.
Now, it could be just a local thing, but again, a lot of stories, a lot of witnesses.
Jurassic Joey is asking, Butch, could things like Bigfoot or Dogman be actual alien experiments let loose on Earth for them to study?
Sure, why not? I mean, there's no beginning of these things. I mean, there's not like the birth of the Bigfoot or the birth of the Dogman or anything like that. I mean, they've been around for a long, long time, hundreds of years. I mean, the indigenous talked about them. And that's where it started, really, with the indigenous. Well, not really, because there were Spanish, there were conquistadors that recorded sightings of large hairy men and half man, half animal type of creatures running around when they were busting their butt in California and in Mexico and stuff. So, been around a long time.
All right, let's move on to Ella's question here. Butch, have you had any coinciding Men in Black Bigfoot sightings reported?
No. Mm-mm. Nope. Now, if you would have said Men in Black UFO sightings, yes, but not Bigfoot. No.
Well, let's get into that. Men in Black UFOs. What do you got happening there?
Well, I got involved in a case where here in Pennsylvania, it was a UFO sighting. And I got a call from, what's his name? Just skipped my brain. The guy that had Skinwalker Ranch. Oh my God.
Robert Bigelow?
Yeah. Bigelow. I got a call from one of Bigelow's at the house here. Not this house, the other house. I got a call at the home. And the guy was a investigator for Robert Bigelow. And he said he saw that I had placed a report on MUFON, and he wanted to know more about it. And I just told him, this is what it is. This is what I found. And that's it, And he just kept going on and on. He took maybe a 5-minute answer and turned it into almost like a 1-hour excursion in my brain. So I let it go at that. And then when I got involved with doing the human mutilations, I'd given my first presentation in 2006 or 7. And I had come home that Sunday. And Monday morning, like at 9 o'clock, the phone rang and there was a number there. I didn't recognize it, but I picked it up and said hello. And all I got was, "You really need to back off of what you're doing." And it hung up. So I called the number back and nothing happened. Wasn't there. No number. So I'm assuming that was, somebody from the government telling me to mind my own business. But I didn't stop. I continued on. And then probably 3 years after that, I was speaking in Lawrence, Kansas. And I probably was home maybe 3-4 days at that point. And phone rang and guy gave me some fictitious name, like Bill Jones or something like that. And he was a researcher, and he was researching human mutilations. And all he wanted to know was where I got my information. How did I get a hold of the autopsy report for this? How did I get the pictures of that? Blah, 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 blah. And when I said, well, if you look, they're there. And he hung up on me. So I'm pretty sure that was the only 2 times I was involved with any of those guys.
What's that like when they come calling?
I don't know. It's kind of weird because it's like they start talking to you like they've known you all your life. They probably do. But when they start asking dumb questions like, well, when did they find the body? What time was it? Where exactly was the body located? What about this case in England that you're working on? Well, how did they know that? I didn't publish anything about the case in England. Nothing. But they know about it. What's your thoughts on what happened? Those kind of questions. I'm going like, this ain't good. So I just get on there and play dumb as usual, and then pretty much they get bored and hang up. End of story.
Is it still happening? Like, do we still have these cases of men in black coming through?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the government ain't going to let anything go. If they got an inkling that you know something that they don't want you to know, you'll get a visit or a phone call, or you'll get audited by the IRS. There's just so many things that, if you look, are available to the public. But when you get involved in it, I mean, I lost a computer one time, and that was no joke. It was my computers are not cheap. I buy the best I can get. And I was messing around one time looking at underground bases, and we have one here in Pennsylvania. And they have a website, so I'm on the website, and here, there, and everywhere, and I wasn't seeing anything specific like plans or photographs or anything like that. It was just a lot of mumbo jumbo stories and what it's used for, and in case of an atomic attack, these guys are going to be living there. And next thing you know, my computer went off. I mean, off. Like, I shut it off. I tried to start it up again. Nothing. I couldn't get it to start. I tried everything. So I went over to another computer, and that was fine. So I figured, well, this one took a crap. So got hold of my computer guy and took it over to his house. And I said, call me when it's done. Well, about 2 hours later, he calls me. He says, what did you do? I said, nothing. I was just on a website. That's it. And I said, it went off, period. He said, went off. He said, this computer is empty. There is nothing in your computer. No emails, no websites, nothing, blank. Your hard drive is clean as a pin. No operating system, nothing. I went like, what can do that? He says, there's only one outfit that can do that. And I went like, uh-oh. He said, what site were you on? And I told him, and he says, like, don't ever do that again. So me, like a dummy, I tell one of my guys about it, right? And he's got a brand new Sony Vaio laptop. I said, you don't want to do that. Don't mess around with that stuff. Well, as like most of my guys, they don't listen to me anyway. So he did it, and exactly the same thing happened. His laptop was just a piece of junk plastic. And there was no way, I mean, he couldn't even rebuild my computer. He said, everything's gone. He said, circuits don't go where they're supposed to go. He said, they're all tied up. He said, it's just a mess. And I said, all right, well, just scrap it. I'll get another one. He said, there's nothing on the hard drive. So he said, you don't have to worry about that. He said, that's clean as a pin. He said, there's nothing there, no operating system, nothing. It's zero. He said, it's just like the hard drive just came out of the factory yesterday. There's nothing on it. I went like, oh, crap. Well, I learned my lesson there. I don't mess around those sites anymore. That was an expensive trip. So do they watch us? Yes, they watch us all the time. You know, we're on Facebook and all these other things, and
we make it easy.
Yeah, we make it easy for them. But when an investigator for Bigelow calls me from Nevada to ask me about something I just posted on MUFON, I mean, it just like, first thing that came to my mind was like, what's this all about? But he just kept asking questions. I was all done. He said, well, thank you very much. You helped a great deal. And that was it. He could have read it. It was on the internet. It was on the website. That's where he got it to begin with.
Was that during the time when Bigelow had bought into MUFON?
What's that?
Was that in the time when Bigelow had bought into MUFON?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. 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 He was getting reports before we got them. Because that report, I remember I got the report on a Monday evening. I talked to the person Tuesday morning, got the photographs from the person Tuesday afternoon, and he called Tuesday evening.
All right. We've got about 30 seconds here. Quick one from let's see here, from Space Cow. Butch, can we force the government to fess up with proof?
I doubt it. They haven't given any proof so far, even with all this stuff that just happened recently. I mean, no. It just, no, they're not going to do anything. I mean, all that little stuff they let go, like, the Tic Tac video and stuff like that. It's all gone by. Everybody forgot about that already.
Very true. Very true. Butch, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. We got Butch Witkowski for another hour here on Strange Days. Your questions in the chat room. Monster talk. Missing people. And whatever else we can bug Butch about. UFOcop.com is his website. We'll be back with more Butch Witkowski Strange Days on SOR. All right, we're clear. Wayland, how you doing, buddy? Well, look who's arrived, everyone. Chad Smith has arrived. The Chad Smith. Remember, you can go into our website, spacedoutradio.com. Let me show you here. All right. Let me show you here. All you do is go into spacedoutradio.com. There's lovely Lynn. There's that handsome guy. You go into shop right up here, and the first thing we have is Chad Smith wrench t-shirts. Right there, right off the bat. But wait, there's more. You can choose your color. And if you scroll down, we got 6 other products on this page. Chad Smith stickers, women's Chad Smith shirts. unisex baseball t-shirts. If you're one of those mask people, well, how would you feel walking around with a Chad Smith mask on? It's the way we roll around here. It's the way we roll. Can't help it, Butch. Even Butch is a Chad Smith fan. Mm-hmm. That's right. Alex Kuhn, how are you? Oh, you want me to show you my shirt? Okay. This says, rolling with my nomies. There we go. Yep. Hello, Butchster, my old friend. I've come to hunt Dogman with you again. Hey, Hack Service, how you doing, buddy? The gorgeous and talented Jennifer Hawkins has arrived, everyone. Why do you build me up, Butchie Cup baby, just to let me down? Spin me around, and worst of all, you never call back when you say you will. But I love you still, Butch.
What is in that vape? That's what I want to know.
That's grape ice.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, FVGBE 342. Been a while. Good to have you here. Yes, there are Chad Smith shirts in the store, Magnus. You need one. You totally need one. Uh-oh. Butch is so popular, he turned down an invitation to be Chad Smith and remained Butch. That is awesome. Got about a minute 20 here. Yeah, see, even Spooky's calling you Butchie Cup now. What can I say? The audience loves you, Butch.
They're my kind of people.
Mm-hmm. Even Alicia wants one of them Chad Smith t-shirts in pink. Patrick says Butch should start making cheese. RB says Chad Smith fears Butch. All right, a big thank you to Alicia, Jason, Fabster, Blue Book, Dirt Road ×2, Mennonite Abe, Tim, Smithy, and Black Dragon for the amazing super chats. And we're going to continue on here in about 20 seconds. Big thank you to all the veterans tuning on in tonight. We love you. You always have a safe home here. And all the regulars hanging out, having fun with us. We're almost at 200 in the live tonight. Let's see if we can hit that. And we're close. We're close. Let's get going here. Get your horns up. Rock and roll. Right, light it up. And Dave's tired. I'm not going to lie, but we're going to do this. We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. Want to remind you that if you miss most of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show. Strange Days with Butch Witkowski continues right now as Butch comes in from UFOcop.com, joins us once a month near the end of each month to tell us about the strange days that was for the month of September. Butch, welcome back.
Yes, sir.
What's the weirdest case you've got this month?
Would probably be the apparitions.
How about Bigfoot?
No Bigfoot.
UFOs?
Yes. Yeah, a number of those.
Give us a good one.
Best one was multi-witness, 4 people. There's maybe 15 miles from where I live, there's a pretty large shopping mall. And the mall was closing up. It was like 10 o'clock. And 2 of the people worked together in the same store, and another guy was closing up his shop, and then another one was like just a customer. And the 2 guys that worked together, they were looking up and they saw this thing zigzagging across the sky, and it was bright white, but it had like a tail coming off it. And the one guy said, well, probably a meteor or bolide. And the guy goes like, meteors and bolides don't have tails that zigzag. He said they have tails, but they don't zigzag. And this thing he said it was very, very dominant with the zigzagging. And he said it was fast. It was really fast. And he said, besides that, he said, if you saw a meteor or bolide, by the time you'd see it, it would be gone. So, and then everybody saw it. I mean, everybody described the same thing. So that was probably the best one. But multi-witness sightings are always the best. They really are the best.
For those who have multi-witness sightings, what are you looking for in multi-witness sightings that's different from, say, an eyewitness account?
Just the fact that everybody's describing the same thing at the same time at the same place, and you never question them together ever. You always get them apart. And if one guy's saying it was pink and another guy's saying it was green, you're going like, this isn't good. It just really isn't good. But when everybody's describing exactly the same thing at the same time, and they're describing the same motion and color and everything else, chances are that they all saw the same thing.
All right. Let's move on here. FVGBE has a question in the chat room for you. How come we haven't heard about Dogman stories pre-2000s?
Oh, they go way back. If you just would punch in Google werewolf or bipedal canine or Dogman in Pennsylvania, you'll see that in the 60s, 50s, 40s, some going back to the 20s. There's quite a few of them.
Well, I mean, Linda Godfrey's Beast of Bray Road article came out in 1989 too.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, there is precedence for pre-2000s. I think what's happened here is the internet really took over and blew this creature up. I think that's what's happened here.
Yeah.
All right. Tuhak is asking, why the Egyptians related so much to their gods to animal hybrids, and if there ever was the possibility of their existence. Ancient aliens maybe modified the human genome? What's your thoughts, Butch?
Well, every dynasty in Egypt had their different gods. Some were half man, half bird. Some were half man, half crocodile, half dog. I mean, there were so many. It really depended on the dynasty and what they were worshiping at that time. Except, Akhenaten's father, was it, or something like that? I think it was Akhenaten, was a sun god. So all those deities of half man, half whatever, kind of went away, and then it was all the sun god. But could ancient aliens have modified the human genome? Yeah, why not? We don't know enough. I mean, for all the stuff that we found and all the stuff they're still finding in Egypt, I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, they just dug up a whole family of high-polluting, fancy Egyptians that were pre-pyramid by like 1,500 years. There's just so much we don't know. I mean, everybody thinks that we've got it all nailed. We ain't even close. We're not even close. You know, it's crazy. It's just crazy. There's so many things that could happen or could have happened that we don't know about. And, you know, whatever comes up, and just follow it as best you can. You know, try to get as much information as you can. But Egyptian gods changed pretty much on a dynasty basis. Whoever was the next hot shot, that was the guy that made all the rules, and deities that they worshipped for hundreds of years went out the window, and somebody else took their place. And that's pretty much the whole history of Egypt. Like the Sphinx. When they really started looking at the Sphinx quite a number of years ago, they said, well, you know, it was just rot. It was falling apart. It was the desert was destroying it. And when they really got into it and started using all kind of electronics and stuff like that, they found out that, you know, it wasn't a lion that was up there. And then there were just too many marks that something has changed. And turned out it was originally it was a statue of Anubis.
That happens. All right, Brutus has a question here. Butch, do you know why the Vatican has an observatory?
The Vatican has had an observatory for hundreds of years. Whatever happens in the Vatican stays in the Vatican. That's no joke. The Vatican archives something like 2.5 million volumes of information that a handful of people have actually seen, other than the people who work down there. There's no way you can get near those. Some people say that if they ever got to them, religion would just be turned upside down on its head. I've heard these stories since I was a little guy, and I'm Catholic, Roman Catholic. So I'm familiar with the observatory. It's one of the best and biggest in the world. And it runs 24/7, 365. I mean, it's always manned, it's always moving, and they don't share anything, nothing.
I've always wondered why.
Yeah, why? That's a great question. Why? I mean, do they know something that we don't about something that's out there that we have no idea what it is? That's very possible. But the Vatican has always been super secretive. I mean, you know, it's people laugh about Dan Brown's books. Dan Brown's books are pretty close to the fact as it's written, you know, with the Illuminati and that whole group. I mean, it's just, there's all kind of stuff going on. And I mean, I get stuff all the time, and I'm not even a member of any of those groups. So I'm just going to show you something real quick.
Sure.
I get this once a month. Can you see it? The Illuminati News.
And what's that about?
Well, it's a secret order. They're arch enemies. Opus Dei, another Catholic organization. These guys have been at war with each other from day one. Illuminati would probably, more people would recognize Illuminati as like the Shriners, those groups there, like that. But I don't know why I'm on their list. Never joined, but I get both of those religiously. That was a pun.
I figured that one.
Okay.
All right. Sovereign wants to know, Butch, have you ever had your keys vanish from either a Sasquatch or a gnome?
No, usually my wife has them in her purse.
Follow-up question. Have you ever yelled at a monster?
My mother-in-law.
How am I supposed to follow up with that? I'm curious, Butch. Did you lose us?
No, I'm still here.
I'm still trying to figure out how to respond to that.
There is no response for that. That's just a fact.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Now, but for you, how close do you think you've been to some of these monsters?
I think I've been a lot closer than I thought. I mean, we were looking, I forget what we were looking for. We were looking for a site of something, and we got barraged with rocks off the top of a hill. And I don't mean little rocks, I mean big rocks. And if they would have had any more accuracy, if they would have looked over the hill, it probably would have killed the both of us. But I mean, you know, there was something up there. I mean, we tried to get up there as quick as we could. It was just a little hill. We got there and nothing. And there were no rocks laying around. There's none on the path we were on, but they were coming. So.
When you say they, how many?
3 rocks. One hit the ground, one hit a tree, and one went out of sight, pretty much into the woods. No other sounds, anything like that.
Evan wants to know, why have you stopped talking about human mutilations?
I really haven't stopped. I still have some connections over in England and in Brazil. I'm watching Brazil a lot because I think they had another one not long before or not long after the one that became world famous, where they had the pictures and everything. And I got to speak to the guy's lawyer. I mean, that was more open than I think people wanted it to be. But England has had their share.
Any more in the United States?
No, but we have so many missing people. We don't know. I mean, you're talking about a couple 100,000 people missing every year. You know, you can't even keep up with that. I mean, the information's available on the FBI site. I mean, you know, you go on there and you know, under missing persons, and they're all listed. And but that's pretty much it. They give you a list, you know, when they went missing and what they look like, or what the situation was, or you know, if they were just a runaway, or if it was an abduction, or you know, that. No, just no rhyme or reason to that stuff. I mean, there's just so many people missing, and that's actually how I found the human mutilations. Well, I was going through missing persons and stumbled across that, and then you know, found another one, and found another one, and then found another one, and you know, it was like a steady progression there for a while, and then a lot of that stuff just vanished off the internet. It's just gone. I mean, I printed it all. I have it all, but the stuff even the stuff I have isn't there anymore.
Is this one of those cases that is being covered up, so to speak?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, when you tell somebody about cattle being mutilated, they go, "Oh, well, it's a space creatures, whatever." You tell somebody that a human has been butchered up like that, exactly the same as a cattle, they get a little nervous. They get a little upset. And the guy in Brazil, I mean, I could take pictures of.
Tell that story. Guy in Brazil.
Okay. Well, the body was found in Brazil. There's a huge lake there that supplies the water for a number of towns. It's called the Guataparanga Dam, and some guys are out there fishing, and they looked on the shore, and they looked like there was somebody sunning themselves. That's what they thought. And they rode over and they saw it was a body. And instead of just going and saying nothing, they actually went to the police. And the police, which is really out of the norm, sent a forensic team out, and they did the photographing and this, that, and the other thing. And everything that was done to a cow, like eyes removed, ears, inner ear, tongue, muscle, tissue, lymph nodes, anal area was cored out. It's exactly like a cattle mutilation. And so that was pretty much all they put out. And then I kept digging, and through the Brazilian police department, I got a hold of the autopsy report. And the autopsy report came through, and it was like a ho-hum autopsy report, like I've seen many others. And then it got to the point where it said that, according to everything that they found, the gentleman was alive when all this took place. If you would take a human and stab him, you're going to have an open cut and blood. And you will have a black and blue mark around where the puncture was. I mean, that's just because you've caused that. You've caused that damage. If a person's dead and you stab them, all you're going to have is a hole. No blood. There's no marks or anything. It's just going to have the hole. And every mark in his body showed that he was alive when that took place. So all the wounds were not post-mortem.
That's horrible.
And they figured he was dead approximately 40 hours, 32 or 33 years in age. And then they blamed it on a retarded kid I'm jumping here. So they never got anything out of him. But at the same particular time, there was another mutilation in Egypt, and right outside of Cairo, where a whole family was butchered. Everybody was butchered the same way. Men, women, children, cats, dogs, chickens, whatever they had in the house was done the same way. So they blamed it on a retarded kid, a retarded guy that kind of lived down the street. And they had him up on murder charges, multiple murders. And when they figured out that this guy, let alone stabbing somebody and doing all that stuff, like removing eyes and stuff, there was no way. This guy couldn't even tie his shoes. I mean, he was that retarded. And I did get to talk to his lawyer.
Got to get you to use the word handicap.
Okay. So he was this handicapped gentleman. I got to talk to his lawyer, found out who the lawyer was, got to talk to the lawyer. She got him off the hook. Till this, well, I don't even know if he's alive anymore because he was in his 40s back then, 10, 15 years ago. Well, maybe he is. But anyway, his lawyer got him off. I mean, there was no way this guy could commit this crime. I mean, he could barely speak, couldn't tie his own shoes. If he walked outside the door, he had to have somebody with him because he'd walk off, get lost. So the court said, okay, we won't try him for murder, but till the day he dies, he will not leave that house without the company of 2 police officers. And that was in effect, where, if he went to religious services or went to the store with his parents, he had 2 cops with him. So they never left him alone, basically.
Unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. And there's been a number of those. There was a body found in Colorado, up in the mountains. They never knew who the guy was, or what he did or anything like that. But found the same way. England guy found the same way. I mean, it's just crazy. It's and then Linda Godfrey, she says, well, these cattle mutilations are caused by flies. Flies. When the guys in England, the two researchers in England have been studying human mutilations over there, man, did they rip her big time. I never bothered because I figured she's just looking for some fame and fortune there, but there was no way flies did this. I mean, cows have multiple stomachs. So every doctor that we've ever talked to or ever was interviewed, to remove the udders from a cow and not hit a stomach with a scalpel is impossible. Just can't be done. And these were laser precision cuts that took that right out, and no damage to the stomachs at all. Same thing with the eyes, precision cuts, the tongue, precision cuts, everything precision cuts.
Now, when you say precision cuts, are
Laser.
you more towards laser or very sharp knife?
Nope, laser. No, you couldn't do it. I don't know how many pathologists they had questioned over time that if they could do that with a knife, and the guy goes, no way. I said, no, you can't do it. I mean, they would cut through the hide and the skin to the bone, but they never touched the bone. Now, if you're cutting meat off a bone, you're going to hit the bone. But this is a perfectly round circle, no blood, and the eye is removed. There's no viscous fluid or anything like that. And it's just perfect. And then when they came up with laser, everybody got crazy because they said, do you realize how big a laser you would need to do that? I mean, we're not talking about something you're going to carry in a lunch bucket. You're talking about something that has to come in on a tractor trailer. And at the scene of these things, even in the snow, there's no footprints, there's no blood, there's no this, no that. I mean, it's just like they were here, they got done in, and that's where they laid. End of story. And they weren't wild animal attacks, because wild animals go for the soft spot. They go right for the stomach, in entrails and stuff like that. And I had pictures of wolf attacks, bear attacks on cattle. Don't look no. I mean, these mutilations are sterile. They're perfect. And now, just in the last 3-4 years.
Hold that thought. We're going to go to break here. At the top of the hour, we have Butch Witkowski and Strange Days here for another 30 minutes. Next half hour at the bottom, John Hudson returns for the UFO Report. We'll be back with hour 3 of Spaced Out Radio next. All right, we're clear.
Okay.
Get me in trouble, man.
Who?
You.
Why? What'd I do?
Politically incorrect words.
Oh, my.
I know.
I'm going to have to go slap myself.
Yeah. I hear you. I'm going to go fill up my water.
Okay.
I'm done. I'll be right back, brother.
Okay.
You want to chat with the people here, or do you want me to mute you?
No, you can mute it.
All right. Be right back. All right, I'm back. Long trip, I know. There we go. Maybe now I can breathe. Oh, there we go. There's a nice question for you.
Oh my God.
That's my audience right there.
Never counted. Couldn't tell you.
Uh-huh. Flies. Flies. Terrible times. How are you? This will be our next question from the lovely and talented Caroline Start. She always likes that extra T pronounced too. So she's Start. Start. Mm-hmm. Do. You having fun yet, Butchie Pie?
Oh yeah, always.
He's my Butchie Pie. Sweet
We ought to
Butchie
cut an
Pie.
album.
We totally do. We totally do. See if we can get something a little older here. Shoshan, how are you? Welcome to our chat room. All right, we got 20 seconds here. Big thank you to Brutus, Alicia, Jason, Fabster, Blue Book, Dirt Road Times 2, Mennonite Abe, Tim, Smithy, and Black Dragon for the amazing super chat. Thank you so much for everybody helping us out. It's a great way to support this show. Thank you to all the veterans tuning us in. And, of course, to all our regulars in the chat room. Get your horns up. Here we go at the third hour. Let's do this.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. Want to say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. What you got to do is go to youtube.com/spaced out radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Defervescence. Defervescence is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Check out our new swag. Rock out to Bumblefoot or read up on Shirky Poo's Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show. For the final time tonight, Butch Witkowski's Strange Days. UFOcop.com is Butch's website, based out of Pennsylvania. Height unknown, weight unknown, hair unknown. Butch Witkowski, welcome back.
Happy to be back.
All right. Caroline Start wants to know, Butch, can you talk about the Todd Seas case? For people who may not know what it is, give it a rundown of this case quickly.
Well, gentleman left his house very early in the morning to go spot preseason deer on his ATV and went missing. He was supposed to be back at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. No show up, so the family went out looking for him, couldn't find him. Police were called, 200 searchers showed up, dogs, horses, ATVs, all over the place. They couldn't find him. They did find the ATV, but no Todd Seas. The next day, the search started again. Rescue teams from all over the place looking for this guy. The ATV was found a mile away from the house. It's a very rocky area. We've been there a number of times. You can't walk anywhere without hurting your feet, even with hunting boots on. It's just terrible rocky. And he owned quite a bit of property up there. I believe it was 6 or 8 acres. But anyhow, there's a road that took you up into the wooded area, which is right inside of his house on his property, where all the searchers and horses and everything, dogs and all, were going up through there. Cadaver dogs a little bit. That evening, the body was found on the property next to a downed tree, 25 yards from the house. Now, how everybody walked past that body in the condition it was in, which I'll get to here in a second, was unbelievable. If you've ever passed roadkill on a hot day, you know what you're smelling. But this guy did not. There was nobody. He was actually found by his son on the property. Autopsy showed that he had advanced stages of deterioration. The body, skin hanging, green, the whole 9 yards. He had no accident or drug arrests or anything like that. State police didn't even know him. He was a real fan of the Little League baseball team. He had nothing out of the ordinary, just Joe Blow, drove a bread truck. But when we started to look into information on him, we couldn't find social security number, driver's license, anything, military record, marriage record, kids' births, nothing. And here in Pennsylvania, you can go on the Social Security Death Index. And when that started happening, I thought, well, is that everybody like that? So I pulled up my father. And his name was there, date of birth, phone number, address, the kids, my mother's name, when they were married, what school he went to. Everything. His whole life was there. This guy, zero, nothing. Like he didn't even exist. And the body was in bad shape, really bad. For being out only the number of hours, and I think it was like 20 hours outside, and it was hot, but not to put a body in that condition. I mean, that body looked like, from the description of the autopsy report, like it'd been out there for a month in the heat. And then they wrote it up as a cocaine overdose. They couldn't get any blood out of any place in his body where you normally would during an autopsy, which would be the chest area. They had to get out of the lower leg vein. And the amount of degraded cocaine that was in his system would have killed a horse. When I talked to pathologists and showed them the autopsy report, they said, look, with that amount of degraded cocaine in the system, he wouldn't have been able to walk 5 feet without falling over dead. So they found no needle marks. He had no background in the use of drugs, selling drugs, using drugs, or anything like that. And it was just nothing in the case struck home. I mean, it was just, I talked to family members. Lon Strickler got involved with me, and I was in it about 3 years when Lon got involved, and it was just, it happened and it went away. That was it. But we still haven't located the son. We've tried to talk to the police and fire company, rescue teams and stuff like that. They wouldn't see us. We sat outside in the police department for hours and hours waiting for them to come back off duty. Well, they went home. They didn't want to talk to us. We called the emergency number of the fire company and talked to the chief to find out what the dispatch hours were. Line was disconnected. The emergency line, right? So we just got shut down at every corner. We've been to the area a number of times. There is no way all those searchers, rescue teams, horses, dogs, cadaver dogs, walked past that body, which was 25 yards from the house and about 15 yards from the road they were walking up. Don't know. There was absolutely no anything that we could find, talking to friends of his, school people he went to school with, that, you know, he didn't do anything. He didn't smoke any marijuana. He didn't take any cocaine. He didn't do nothing. And we talked to the one trooper who was in charge of all the drug things going on in 3 counties, and that was one county, and Northumberland County. And he said, I never heard of the guy, and I can't find anything on the guy, so he wasn't doing any dealing or buying or anything around here. Everything was just went nowhere. I mean, it's just dumb. I mean, he's a truck driver, but he has no Pennsylvania driver's license. Family, according to the report, no family, but he had a family. Big family, as a matter of fact, brothers, sisters, a lot of nephews, nieces. Just one dark hole after another. And we've never closed the case. It's still open. We got the runaround from the coroner. He lied to us. We got that in writing on an email that went back and forth with him and I. Police department, fire department, different rescue teams. It's just like everybody was told to shut up, and they did. Family don't talk about it. It's just, we've been to the grave site, and, you know, the Little League left a little statue there and a ball and all that stuff. And, you know, there were a lot of things you wouldn't normally find at the grave of a drug dealer, you know. It's just a strange case. I mean, what makes it even stranger is that the day that he disappeared, there were sightings in the area of UFOs. And the one sighting was a couple police officers. So now he was on this, his thing all took place on one side of the ridge, Northumberland Ridge. And the police officers were on another call on the other side of the ridge, but they saw the craft. And then a farmer said that he saw what he thought was somebody being pulled up in a craft above the power lines, and it looked like he just had on his socks and his shorts. Well, everybody poo-pooed that. When you got to the autopsy, what was he in? T-shirt, shorts, and socks. His feet were unremarkable, which is crazy because I was wearing heavy boots and it hurt my feet just walking across that crap. And he was allegedly to walk 1 mile. And the only thing that was wrong with his feet were the heels of his socks were dirty. There's no unremarkable, no bruises or anything like that. The people that did the toxicology report, they tried to pass it off as he drank bad booze. Well, the guy didn't drink, he didn't smoke. So it's just one of those cases where whatever happened and whoever made everybody shut up, there was a reason. So, and there have been a number of sightings in that area over the years, but we'll keep at it. We keep getting into it. So, but that's the story of Todd Cease. Strange from day one.
Why keep going at it? Why keep beating this case?
Well, the one thing it did turn up, which is why we're looking for the son. We want to talk to the son who just went missing, period, was the fact that the police had a report of the son and the father having a spat where the police were called the day he disappeared. The only other thing in his stomach was Mountain Dew. This guy always walked around with a can of Mountain Dew. Now, was the amount of cocaine put into the can of Mountain Dew? Possible. Who did it? Mountain Dew came from the house. Police were at the house where him and the kid were having a knockdown drag out. So we want to talk to the kid. And that's the proper way to do it.
Very true. Has any family member reached out to you?
In the very beginning, yeah. A niece. She sent me an email, a very nasty email, saying that, you know, I was professing that this guy was kidnapped by aliens and all this stuff. And I'm going like, I don't know who you're talking to, lady, but I didn't say that. And she said, well, that's what people are saying. I said, well, they didn't get it from me. I said, I haven't talked to anybody about this case at all. And then, you know, I said, I just want the truth. What happened to him? Did somebody kill him? And where he was found, and this is no joke, I was there. At any time during the day or night, because this mountain, this ridge is noted for Snake City. I mean, that's where they go have these rodeos, snake rodeos. Firing a shot from any type of gun on that ridge would not even get anybody to blink an eye. You could walk up there and shoot 10 people and walk back to your car and nobody pay any attention. I mean, it's very remote. I mean, it is remote. So, you know, I kind of ruled out, you know, that type of murder where it like would have been bludgeoned or shot or stabbed or something like that. But when it came back, when the toxicology came back as this massive amount of cocaine, and every pathologist I talked to said the same thing. This guy wouldn't have walked 10 feet and fell over dead. One guy said 5 foot, maybe. But how did he get from there, if that was the case, that he would have dropped right on the spot? How did he get from there to his property, which is a mile away from where the ATV was and he was? Over that rocky terrain, not have any damage to his feet, soles of his feet, nothing. In his socks, underwear, his camouflage coveralls that he went out on, they found those. And the family went out because they were looking for the keys for the ATV to bring that back to the house. And I guess that's why the police don't talk to us. The family said they went through every pocket. They couldn't find the keys. but they turned in the coveralls to the police. Said, "Oh, we found these. We were looking for the keys. We didn't find the keys. So here, you want these?" And they said, "Yeah." Well, the next day during the autopsy, the police called and said they found cocaine in the pocket of the coveralls, and the family said, "No, there was no." And as a matter of fact, that was the girl called me. She said there was no cocaine in those coveralls. She said we all went through those pockets. There's only 4 pockets. She had 2 breast pockets and 2 side pockets. And she said they were empty. There was nothing in there. And I went like, okay, So the police lied.
What do you think the cover-up is?
I don't know. We could find no connection with any drug cartel, no government agencies. I mean, his what should have been absolutely easy to find wasn't there. I mean, it just wasn't there. The information on this guy, like, he didn't exist. So who knows? Probably never know, but we still want to talk to the kid. And it was funny that one thing that struck me is the kid is the one who finds the ATV. The kid is also the one that finds the body. Coincidence? Possibly. Still worth asking the questions.
Oh, yeah. Have to be.
Mm-hmm.
Have to be. Butch, let's move on here to a couple more questions.
Sure.
Our audience, Jeff wants to know, do you ever collaborate with Stan Gordon?
Yeah, I have over the years, yeah. Different cases. Stan the man.
Do you have one that kind of stands out?
Not really. They're mostly UFO sightings. A couple Bigfoot things. Mostly just swapping information, I guess the best way to put it.
I guess that's a good part of having friends and working together, is you can do that.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on here. Tony is asking, Butch, what's the weirdest Dogman story that comes to mind?
Probably the very first one we had, which was a guy walking his dogs, and the same place he's walked all his dogs since he retired. He was a retired combat Air Force pilot and a commercial pilot, retired. And he and the dogs were walking up the same path they walk up every day on a state game land. And the dogs started going nuts, looking to the right, and they started pulling. They were pulling so hard they were digging holes in the dirt. And this bipedal walked out, paid no attention to them, walked across the trail, walked into the other side. The dogs were going bananas, and it's just like whatever it was, it paid no attention to him or the dogs. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I get 2 dogs that size. Weimaraners, big dogs. They'd be barking and carrying on, wanting to get to my fat butt. I'd be up a tree quick.
Yeah, absolutely. Nikki is asking, how many of these human cases are there with humans being cut up while alive?
24 that I know of. And about 6 of those are in England. And one of those is a family of 4.
Sovereign wants to know, how do the sheriff's department list these UFO laser mutilation cases on their reports? Killed by mountain lion?
Most times, police don't really have an answer. It's usually the owner of the cattle that'll call a vet to come down and look. And a lot of the information we get is from vets. We don't get it from police departments.
We've got 3 minutes to go here, my friend, before we have to say goodnight to you. As we move closer to Halloween, the veil gets thinner. What are you going to be up to?
Me? Probably just working on reports. Probably it. I don't get too involved in Halloween. Never did. Even as a kid, never excited me to dress up like something and go out and get clubbed in the head by your sister for the candy.
And here I thought you'd be dressing up like Dr. Evil.
No. That new picture that went up on your site tonight with you and I, that's trippy.
Very trippy. Good thanks, Fedora John, for that.
I will.
And his art skills. You know, tell everybody, take some time where they can figure out how to get a hold of you and what you look for in reports.
I all the information they can gather. I mean, no matter how inconsequential it may seem or silly, I want to hear it. They can. The best way to get me, the very best way, is to get on Facebook under UFO Research Center Pennsylvania, or your FORCOP, or just me, Butch Witkowski, and just go over to notifications or whatever, and ask for my either my email address if you want it, or my phone number, and I get back to everybody right away. Within 24 hours, I'm back on the phone with somebody.
Nice.
That's the fastest way.
Nice. And you don't turn down any reports?
No, none. And not only reports, but if anybody just wants information on how to do something, or a piece of equipment they want to get, or how to do something, or how to make a plaster cast or take fingerprints or whatever, I'll give them the information.
Very cool. Are you hoping to get out here anytime soon?
We'll be going out in 2 weeks.
Where are you heading?
North central Pennsylvania to check out 3 caves.
Caves. Dangerous.
Hmm.
You can't run that fast anymore.
No, I always get somebody slower than me to tag along.
Good.
Put him at the end.
It's not going to be Lon Strickler anymore. He's back in love.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
On his Facebook page, he's got a new girlfriend.
Oh, yeah?
Apparently so.
Cool. Anybody I know?
I have no idea.
Oh.
But apparently romance is in the air.
Cool.
That's Chateau Strickler.
Couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
Very true. After he tragically lost his wife a few years ago to cancer, I believe.
Yes. That was sad.
It's good for him. Good for him. Butch, big thank you to you coming back on Spaced Out Radio again. We will talk to you next month, my friend.
Absolutely.
I look forward to it. I know our audience does well. Butch Witkowski, UFOcop.com. Coming up next, we have the Unbiased UFO Report with fedora-wearing John Hudson. We got Shirky Poo's Newswire, the thought of the day. Stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. Great show again, buddy.
Okie dokie. Well, we'll talk to you later.
Yeah, you go get some sleep.
You need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
See ya.
Love me some Butch Witkowski. Love me some Butch Witkowski. Brian, what's happening? Oh. There you go, Fapster. Alicia's saying, I'm glad somebody is finding love in the air. Fap, you know what you got to do? You got to go to Texas. See this handsome young lady. Careful, Alicia. Fap's got moves. Fapster has big-time moves. I apologize for the yawning, everyone. Hey, there he is, Fedora John. Flick that hair for us, if you don't mind. Give it a little shake for us. Beautiful. Beautiful.
For as long as I have it,
I like it.
It's actually, it drives me nuts sometimes because my daughter got my hair and it's as thick as mine used to be. I mean, I used to have a ponytail like this thick, and boy, is it sad how it thins as you get older.
Mm-hmm. I don't have that problem.
Yeah, we won't talk about that because I still like you, and I'd like to keep it that way.
Well, here, let me just look at that, buddy.
Yeah,
No
yeah,
nail
I know.
pattern
I know.
on this whatsoever.
I know. Wrong.
I'm so tired. I'm taking a vacation week after next week.
Good.
Not on the show. I'll still do the show, but during the week, I'm going to take a vacation week, and I'm going to sleep.
Yep. My recommendation, honestly, with everything going on, is you spend most of the week sleeping, meditating, and hanging out with your kid.
Yeah, well, he'll be at school.
Yeah, so you meditate while he's in school, sleep in, meditate while he's in school, and then when he gets out, you got lots of energy to play with him, and just follow your fancy for a week,
Yeah, we'll figure something out. Oh man, Guillermo, what's going on, buddy? Gorgeous Jennifer P, what's happening? Yeah, it'll be good to get some rest. That's for sure. I feel like I could sleep for 2 weeks, man. I might take 2 weeks. I don't know.
The thing I find interesting is that whenever you have two things going on like you do, and one of them is really wearing on you, and even though that's wearing your whole life down, the other one energizes you. And it really shows you that, like, it's really about how much you love something that really impacts how much weight it brings on you.
Oh, for sure, dude. For sure. That's exactly it. But every now and again, like I can honestly feel my body telling me to take some time off. And it's rare that I've had that. Rare.
Well, it's good that you actually are of sound mind enough to actually be able to hear it when it tells you that, because a lot of times it's right when your body tells you that your mind's so wound up that people don't hear it.
Yeah. Well, we'll figure it out. We'll get her sorted out.
Go hang out with Carl.
Fuck, I wish. Get him to do his alien woo crap on my chest.
Hey, you get enough sleep and you meditate and you stay mindful and you never know. Never know.
Fap, does anybody believe Dave just doesn't hang out shirtless by a lake every day until 9 p.m. Pacific? I'll never tell. Thank you to Space Cow, Brutus, Alicia, Jason, Fabster, Blue Book, Dirt Road ×2, Mennonite Abe, Tim, Smithy, and Black Dragon for the amazing super chats. And it's a great way to support what we do on this show nightly. And we're going to fire it up here with Stetson John here momentarily. Get your horns up. Here we go. We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. Want to remind you that I have, been told to remind you that you can check out all of our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show. It's time once again for fedora-wearing John Hudson and the UFO Report. Yeah, it's that time once again where John comes in and talks about all the hot news around the UFO world. And we are going to kick things off with a little bit of news from France and the French intelligence agency looking into some UFOs. John, take it away.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for hanging out to listen. It's nice to be here. And yeah, this is a pretty cool one. Now, this is a little hard to get into because it is all in French. If you go to the actual interview, but there've been a couple people have been kind enough to translate some of it. And essentially, it's this gentleman named, and I'm going to badly pronunciate the poor gentleman's name, but Alain Juliet, I believe. Essentially, he was a. Say again?
Alain Juliet.
Oh, Alain Juliet, really? Well, see, that's what happens when you have, a Quebec in your country, right? You get to actually learn French pronunciations. But basically, this guy was actually the head of the DGSE, which is the French intelligence service. I assume that's equivalent to a CIA or an MI6 as a being an exterior facing, but it's hard to tell because I remember you telling me that Canada has one unit that does both. Essentially, what was cool about it is that he said a lot of the same things that we've all been saying. He talked about the possibilities of two parallel worlds, that might explain some of the phenomenon. He talks about the fact that, in some places the phenomenon goes quite unnoticed. He talks about the fact that it is more or less classified. I mean, he says a lot of the same things that we've all been hearing, but to hear it coming out of someone from his position in his native tongue, speaking to his own people, shows to me that there's a common thread that's happening in all of our countries. And I think that's a good thing. I think that shows that we're making progress.
So is this guy pretty much the equivalent of Lou Elizondo over there?
No, actually, I would say he's more equivalent of like a Brennan. We're talking about the head of that organization. So this is a very senior level position. I would argue from what I now know about Lou that Lou was probably about as senior as you can get without having a public face. And I think this guy was in a position where he was basically heading the whole organization. So this is more like a Brennan or a DNI sort of role. So this is a big deal. This is a really big deal. But it's like I said, it wasn't that he said anything particularly shocking. It was that he said a lot of the same things. And for him to be talking about parallel dimensions and so forth, that's not normal terminology to be using. And so for him to be saying things like that really shows that there really is a common theme that's happening.
No, that is really cool. I mean, and it just corresponds what we're hearing from not only the United States, Canada, and other countries as well. So the more countries we get on with government officials now not being afraid to talk about this subject so much, I think this is, that's just another little centimeter or in the door that opens up a little bit more. And I think that's absolutely great. All right, let's move on to topic number 2, which was Kevin Day was on a podcast recently, kind of going over what's happening with UAP Expedition X.
No, actually, that's not what I have, sir.
Or Andrew Knock, pardon me.
Yes, I apologize. No worries. You're sleepy. I'm with you. Yeah. So basically, Andrew Knock, he is the producer of Demi Lovato's program, and so he's been the one that had actually been kind of running the show for her TV show, and so he was interviewed and basically by Christina Gomez, and essentially it was he actually gave away some interesting details that I can't speak for all of you listening, but for me it actually it personally made me a little more interested in checking out her show. In that he did talk about the fact that she made an effort to go out and reach out to experts that were willing to talk to her, on film. It was essentially her and a dear friend and a sibling that were kind of on this adventure. And they did talk to Kevin Day. They did talk to Nick Pope. But she also did some other interesting things in that essentially at one part during the series, she takes a remote viewing class. And you get to see some of the results of that. And at another place in this program, she actually goes through hypnotic regression. And this is evidently shown in quite detail. And, hypnotic regression is not only, a very personal thing when it's done properly, but considering how often it's done improperly, it's a very controversial thing for anyone to be doing, especially someone at her level. And she also evidently made a trip to Catalina Island. Which no doubt was at the advice of Kevin Day and some others. But so she did actually try to hit some interesting points in this whole phenomenon world. And according to this producer, during one of their night sightings, they did capture something that they believe might have actually been a UFO, and that will actually be shown in the show. So it'll, I have no idea how much he was talking it up. But if you listen to the interview, he was pretty, I got to admit, this guy, he kind of impressed me a little bit. He pushed back on a lot of things. He tried not to be grandiose. He tried to minimize claims, and he tried to play it pretty straight. And, I got to say, I was a little surprised by his demeanor.
Outside of this, it all comes down to Demi Lovato and, when you get people like her or Rob Lowe or Jack Osborne who are using their celebrity clout to all of a sudden step into research that they never have stepped into, it just to me rubs me the wrong way. Granted, they're getting the subject airtime. Granted, they're doing something different, but.
Well, so let me give you a counterpoint, okay? A while ago, George Knapp interviewed Pamela Anderson, of very interesting fame, about her paranormal work, and I gotta say, I was kind of shocked. That woman has done a lot of research and a lot of field research. And I don't know if she's been following any methodologies. I don't know if she's been documenting any of it. I don't know how thorough she was, but she had some stories. And the thing is that when you look at the world, the people that are touched by this phenomenon, it's statistically going to appear all over the place. And as a result of that, we should get just as many doctors, lawyers, singers, guitarists, drummers, senators, congressmen, prime ministers. Basically, this should appear in every part of society, and we really want people from those groups stepping up and talking about their experiences because it makes everyone else more comfortable to do so. And some of these people could actually turn into decent researchers. We don't know.
That's being very politically correct.
Well, it's honestly how I feel.
Well, I know, and I can see that, and I can appreciate that, and I'm not. Yeah, maybe I am trying to stir it up a little bit here. Okay, maybe I am just to play devil's advocate. But it would be nice if these hosts, if these celebrity hosts, actually brought real researchers with them. Okay, as part of their team. That's what I'm saying. Look, there are so many times these celebrities come out and they completely, what's the word I'm looking for? Ignore the community that they are researching in. They come in, they use their influence and their power to come in and say, well, I'm a UFO researcher now, or I'm a Bigfoot researcher, or I'm a ghost hunter. And they completely ignore the community. We've seen it numerous times over the decades since this type of television has become very popular and ratings worthy. And for some of them, they're just trying to get another 15 minutes of fame in front of the camera as their acting career has died down or winding down or whatever it may be. Now, I'm not saying they don't have an interest in it, John. Everyone can have an interest in this subject. It's a fun subject to have interest in and to be a part of. But I just don't like the fact that you never see, like if Rob Lowe was going out looking for Sasquatch, you never saw him walking around with Jeff Meldrum. You never saw him, as part of his investigative team. It was him and his son.
So I would argue that on the cryptid side, I think it's a slightly easier solved problem. But I would say on the UFO side and so forth, considering what's going on right now, can you think of one researcher that Demi Lovato could have picked to take with her that everyone or even the majority of people would have agreed was a good person to take? It's a very small number of people, and then from that group, are they actually presentable? Are they actually TV safe?
Tim McMillan. There's one. Granted, he's in Germany. Probably wouldn't want to come. Ross Coulthard. 2.
So I agree with both of those, but those are both very new folks.
Richard Dolan.
I don't know. I tend to like Richard's work, but I have to admit, like there is a growing contingency of people that have doubts in Richard and would not appreciate him being involved.
Well, that's fine and dandy, but he's also still one of the faces of the franchise.
Agreed. But my point is that it might be very hard for them to pick someone that isn't going to ruffle feathers.
True. Well, everyone is going to. That's the funny part about it. All right, let's move on here to the next one. Sammy Hagar, we touched on this on the roundtable. Sammy Hagar finally admits again that he has aliens. More of a lifetime of strange encounters. What do you got for us?
So this was, first off, I really encourage everyone to go listen to the interview. It's on Mystery Wire. It's an interesting interview. It's not very long. And in the past, Sammy Hagar has not been tremendously secretive about the fact that he's had encounters. But in this interview, he really kind of laid it out, and he basically kind of explained that this was something that's been happening to him since he was very young, that he's had many different experiences, that it influenced his music, and that he basically, didn't like to talk about it because he didn't want people to think he was crazy, which, I had to admit, I found a little bit entertaining for someone, that's had his role to be worried about people thinking he's crazy. But it just shows that stigma does affect everyone. And it shows that because of what's happening now in the world, he's feeling safer to come out and talk about it. And you never know, there might be 2 or 3 other people that, are in a similar sort of role that look at him and go, well, God, man, if Sammy Hagar can get away with it, so can I. And you never know. And so, but it's a good interview and it's worth listening to. It was actually really interesting. And I applaud George Knapp and his team for actually getting this interview, because it was definitely a UFO focused conversation.
Yeah, I think it's great. I wish more stars. I mean, here I am totally contradicting myself. No Demi Lovato or Rob Lowe, but Sammy Hagar, rock and roll. Let's get some more names out. I don't mind if the stars come out and say they're experiencers. I think that's positive. Okay. The difference is, because people always need clarifying these days. The difference is when you are using this newfound topic of yours as a scapegoat to make money at a television series to get your name in the forefront, that's where I have an issue.
But I could definitely see someone who is in a talent role managing one of these folks, for them to come and say, hey, I want to go share my experience. And they go, you're not going to take risk unless there's some reward. And if you want to go out and talk about this, we have to build something around it. And I could see that happening.
Me too. Finally tonight, and we only got about, let's save this one.
Yeah.
The Anti-Gravity Club.
Yep.
All right, let's save that one for when you're on in a couple nights' time, because we are running out of time here. But, John, incredible UFO report as per usual. And where can people find you, John?
Primarily right now on Twitter. You can actually search for my name, or you can search for _Desmoden, and I post notes to the show as well as some of the other research I do on my own.
All right, buddy. Appreciate you. And we're going to get to Shirky Poo's news.
Have a good evening.
The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire. Starting off in Ohio, where an actor at a haunted house in Ohio who was carrying a real Bowie-style knife as a prop accidentally stabbed an 11-year-old boy. The incident was reported just after 8 p.m. back on September 18th at the 7 Floors of Hell haunted house. Yep, the boy and his family friend were approached outside the haunted house by one of the roaming actors looking to scare them. The actor, a 22-year-old man from Middleburg Heights, Ohio, was carrying a large fixed-blade knife as a prop. The haunted house actor scraped the knife on the ground in front of them and began to stab at the ground near the boy's feet. The police report states the knife went through the boy's red Croc-style shoes and cut his left toe. The photo is that the police report showed of the bloody cut. Staff at the attraction applied first aid, and the boy's mother was called. Police asked if she would like to take her son to the hospital, but the boy wanted to continue going through the attraction. The report said, good for him. Tough Ohio boy there. Further medical attention was declined, and the group finished the tour of the haunted house. The knife was confiscated from the actor, who told police that he brought it from home and used it instead of using the provided prop knives from the haunted houses, according to the report. He also admitted to using the knife was not a good idea, and the injury was an accident, and he had no intention of hurting anyone with it. The boy's mother later decided to pursue negligent assault charges. Of course she did, because she wants to cash in here on a snafu like this. The 7 Floors of Hell haunted house, which is located about 15 miles southwest of Cleveland, did not immediately respond to media requests. With October around the corner, that spooky time of year is nearly upon us, but one California man had a real-life fright that had nothing to do with Halloween. Joel Morrison was walking through a cemetery when he passed by a 100-year-old grave. Nothing too strange about it. Many graveyards have been around for well over a century, except this plot had human hair peeking out of it. Yeah, the video was shared on TikTok. In it, you hear Joel saying how he was just seeing something really gross. The camera then shows the tomb and pans down to a clump of hair that is flowing out of the crack of the grave. Now, Joel says that he is, when his disgust subsided, he started to feel bad for the deceased family members and worried about the upkeep of the cemetery, feeling kind of like maybe they were being disrespected or desecrated in some way. He noted other grave sites had been damaged by animals and overgrowing trees. Commenters were also disturbed by what they saw, with one calling it the scariest thing I've seen. Others have a guess as to what they thought was happening. Seems like they're buried under a tree. A funeral director once suggested not to be buried near trees, as something like this may happen. Continuing on here, finally tonight. All right. The first all-private mission to space was interrupted by an alarm linked to Crew Dragon's Poo Center. Yeah, the waste management system on the rocket requiring a composed response from all 4 space tours. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to do their doo-doo. Nature calls, whether you're at home or in orbit. There's a microgravity-optimized toilet aboard the SpaceX Crew Dragon. It triggered an alarm during recent Inspiration 4 mission, causing moments of stress because they didn't know what they were going to do. Well, the 4 crew team members figured it out, fixed it up. They can now poop in peace. Poop in peace. I have potty humor. What can I say? Today's thought of the day: what's the weirdest thing you've encountered paranormally? Penman. I wouldn't know where to begin. I've seen lots of weird stuff. Mary Beth, Stanley Hotel in Colorado. It looked like someone was walking outside our bedroom window. It's completely dark in the room, and you could only see light from outside through a crack in the drapes. Greg, seeing a coworker go into a sandwich shop who had recently died. Another coworker was with me, and we both saw her. Chad, being scratched at Brushy Mountain Prison while filming an upcoming documentary. Jeannie, I saw what looks like a transparent amoeba floating across the hall during the day. Thank you to everybody in the Thought of the Day. Thank you to Shirky Poo for the news, John for the UFO report, and Butch Witkowski for Strange Days. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thaw rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAB, Spreaker, Revolution Radio, Facebook, the Space Travelers Club, and on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, say it with me, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night. But soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night. Thank you. I am done. Where's my mouse? Zune, what's going on, man? How you doing? Hey, Excalibur, how you doing? Total face for radio, Doc Holiday. Very true. Fap, cut your butt hair. Cut your butt hair, Fap. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate that. While we're waiting. Hate this chair. These pants are slippery. Truth or Chainment, what's happening? Learning. Rock and roll, man. Rock and roll. I got to edit here, so I don't have time for it. Do 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 do. What is today? Do 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 do. Say your prayers at the one, don't forget my son, to include everyone. Do 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 do. I am more terrible. Thanks, Fap. That's why we love our resident clubfoot man. Fab's jealous because he can't get a guitar strap over his head to fit on his shoulders. I'll have to check, Larry. I think so. Thanks, Sonny. FAP is the Dr. Pimple Popper's dream television show. How much pus you carrying there, FAP? You're one giant succubus cyst. Just saying. The succubus cyst with eyeballs. Oh, I don't know, Magnus. I just kind of play around right now. I was trying to learn Symphony of Destruction the other day. I forget that one, though. Hey, it's gorgeous. Jordan Ashley Pettit. So, sweet Jennifer P., where have you been hiding recently? We've missed you. No. John, send. I booted myself out. John, send me a link via the messenger. I can't pull them off here on StreamYard. Oh, I did see that. Where am I here? Thanks, Jordan Ashley Pettit. What's the matter, Fabs? You're afraid of a little sebaceous cyst pus? You can bring your fluid levels back to normal. You might be able to wear a size 8 ball cap again. Did Jennifer P. respond? No, she hasn't responded yet. We're trying to figure out where Jennifer P. has been hiding the last few months. Double bass, what's happening? You're about 48 minutes past Butch. Kind of hard for me to ask him now, buddy. I'm sorry. But if you want to get into the debate of sebaceous cysts, that's okay too. There's a word that isn't used enough. Sebaceous. Good term. I'm going to figure this out. I'm just playing. Why can you not allow me to break into song, Fap? Fuck off. Thank you, Carbines. Being nicer than Fap to me. With the Norwegian kroner right there. Appreciate you. Give me 2 secs, guys. Kind of cool. Open 3-5. Thanks, little Marky Spender. It's my buddy right there. It's my friend right here. It's right there. It's my friend Fap. You guys are mean. Mean. Especially you, little Marquee Spender. Why hasn't this started yet? Come on. That one's done now. Paul Holland, tell him I'm not as bad as what you think I am. I've had enough of the harassment tonight. Not feeling well enough. It's the only time I get to fucking practice. I make Fap feel bad here. Mystics Walk, what's going on, man? Steam Train Mark. Freebird, yeah, I wish. What's a little Marky Spender saying here? I don't have time to listen to that. That's done. Hopefully this one will hurry up. Oh, the old Chad Smith right there. The old $2 Chad Smith. Boom. Thank you, buddy. Yes, I have, FAP. Yes, I have. You are the sunshine of FAP's life. You know, I'll always be around for you, Fapster. Fapster's like that poo cramp that just won't go away. And you sit and sit and sit, and it never goes away. It's our man Fap right there, our poo cramp. Who's on tomorrow night? Larry Holcomb, Presidents and UFOs. Tomorrow night. Magnesium. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you. What do you say there, Doug Stevenson? Where are you? It's down there somewhere. All right, that's done. Larry Holcomb tomorrow night, everyone. That'll be fun. On that note, old Davy's heading to bed. Want to say a big thank you to Butch Witkowski for coming on for Strange Days. Thank you to everyone in the super chat tonight. Black Dragon, Smithy, Tim, Dirt Road ×2, Mennonite A, Blue Book, Fapster, Jason, Alicia, Brutus, Space Cow, Carbines, Chad, and Magnus. Really appreciate the super chats. Don't forget, you can get all of your swag on our website, spacedoutradio.com, and go do a little shopping there. We got some great swag. Make sure you check them in. We got more than t-shirts there. You just need to check it on out. Big thank you to all the veterans who tuned us in tonight. We love you. You always have a safe place at this show. And, of course, all our regulars who make this show so much fun. We really do appreciate you. Thank you so much for the love. And follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button right down here and ring the little bell, which is over here somewhere. All right. Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern.